Hey everyone! Welcome back to Tales from the Table Studios. We are super excited to be back. It has been too long. I think it's only been a week, which is way too long. It tells you how much we love this game. But we're so excited to be back. We're so grateful that you're here. And we're going to get started with our episode tonight in just a minute. But first, a couple of things I'd like to go over. First, if you enjoy what you see here, there are a bunch of ways you can let us know that. We have a Discord, which is linked down below. Come pop in, say hi, talk about the shows, ask us about things we've done, why we didn't do things. Tell us what you'd like to see or what you really enjoyed, because it's things that we'll take into account as we move forward. And most importantly, get to hang out with some amazing people. Our community is growing by the day, and we've got so many incredible, great, brilliant minds, game designers, fantastic human beings, and at least one group of squirrels in a human suit just sort of hanging out, and it's awesome. We talk about a lot of different stuff, both TTRPG related and not, and we're always happy to see new faces. So feel free to come on and check that out. Another way you can let us know that you like what we're doing is dropping in the chat and letting us know. Shout out things you like. You can gain Tails points by hanging out, and there are ways you can cash those in to react to things that are going on in game. You can also force us to take better care of ourselves with things like hydrate checks, which we always appreciate because, we go on for a while and sometimes you get immersed and forget to take a sip, and it's a really good way to help keep us honest with ourselves. We always appreciate that. You can also throw us a follow or a subscribe. If you aren't interested in giving any money to Jeff Bezos or Amazon, none of us are going to blame you for it. We also have a Ko-Fi. You can find that down below as well, and that has updates on events that we're running, games that we're running, shows that we're working on, and more. You can also get some really cool free stuff on there if you're not interested or able to jump into a membership. We've got a couple of maps out right now. We've got a completely free Kids on Bikes module modeled after Five Nights at Freddy's called One Night at Ollie's. That is a lot of fun. Please check that out. Let us know what you think of it. You can also find that over on DriveThruRPG and itch.io and a whole bunch of stuff. We'll get the links up. It's fine. But check it out. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you can also check out all of our archived stuff over on YouTube. We are a little bit behind, but we're really hoping that after next week we'll be able to catch up on some of that. It's been an incredibly busy month here at Tales from the Table Studios, which leads me into our next thing that I'm really, really excited about. We're in the end game, y'all! We are in the week, starting Friday, running till Sunday. Days of Tales 2, 36 hours of games, giveaways, panels, and more. And we couldn't be more excited about it. We're going to be raising money to support NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I almost went back to National Network of Abortion Funds because I've been talking about that recently. But we're supporting NAMI. It's an amazing organization that helps with mental illness everywhere by providing support, education, and more. They've got some amazing programs, and we're really, really excited to be able to do this. If you're interested in being around for that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from 12 noon to 12 midnight, we'll be running stuff non-stop. Some of our games have some really awesome, very interesting incentives for donations, but all of them, incentives or not, are going to be phenomenal. We've got everything ranging from Pathfinder 2nd Edition to like Thirsty Sword Lesbians to Mutants and Masterminds, Vampire 5e, Eat Trash, Do Crime, and more. We've got so many phenomenal games that are coming up, and we can't wait to share those with you. We really hope that you stick around, hang out, enjoy them, donate where you can, share with your friends, let them know about it too, because the more eyes we get on it, the more people we can get involved, and the more we can support NAMI, because that's really why we're all here. Next, A Crumbling Foundation is a horror game, which means that at its core there will be horror elements, including things like atmospheric horror, religious iconography, mutilation, self-mutilation, potential gaslighting, and other things in and around that camp. If at any point you find yourself feeling uncomfortable, please don't hesitate to step away. We've all spoken about this together as well. We're all primed, prepped, and ready that if at any point anyone's uncomfortable, we'll be taking a break, and that's the way it should be. Not to get preachy, but if you're not comfortable, if you're not enjoying what you're seeing here, please step away, close the tab. We have a bunch of other shows. You can always come back later. We're working on including things like content warnings and like little, I forget what they're called, the little tabs on YouTube, so you'll be able to skip that content when it does finally get up, which is part of what's been holding us off. But your mental health, your health overall should always come first before anything else. So please feel free to step away. We will always be here. We will never hold it against you. We will never be upset. We love you all. With that, I'm going to pass things around and let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll get to tonight's episode, starting with JD.
Oh, you started with me last time, Lion.
Oh,
I mean,
did
I'll
I?
go
Oh,
first.
I'm
I'll go
slacking.
first.
I was actually getting ready to unmute, and I was like, "Oh, JD, okay."
So I can start if you want.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We can go the other way. Zoe, go ahead.
Yeah,
It's been a long month.
Hello everyone. I'm Zoe. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios, and you can find me soon in April, yay, at Component Cast playing a Cyberpunk Red game. So I'll see you there, hopefully.
Awesome. Great group of people and a wonderful game. Very excited for that. Next up, we have the Eye.
I am the Eye, as summoned by the Lion, here and only here, found here in this place. That's it.
Tal.
Hi, I'm Tal. I am slightly at a disadvantage tonight as I have lost my glasses and can't really see anything, but it'll be fine. There'll be no issues at all.
Wow.
I know. You can check me out on the social medias under the Gamers Rest, and I also have a YouTube channel where I play video games. And early hours in the morning, you'll get to see episode 4 of House of Ashes. And that's going superbly well. There are no issues there either. And that is me.
Jack.
Yes, hello, that is me. I am playing Agent Hevard Hart tonight, as always, here on Crumbling Foundation. I don't have much right now because we just finished our demo play for season 4 of RPGs Uncovered. It was an explosive finale. The VOD is still up on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and it will be coming to YouTube soon. That is not the end of season 4, however, not quite yet, because this Saturday we are doing our final review and analysis of the game, plus epilogue vignettes of all of our characters, or at least all the ones that survived. So check that out this upcoming Saturday, 4:30 p.m. EST. And let me pass it up to JD.
So yes, now I can go. I am JD. I am playing Dr. Zachary Ryan in this game. I was a part of RPGs Uncovered Season 4. Pour one out for our lost team member. Gonna be a tearjerker when we have a chance to toast to our beloved companion who is no longer with us. I do a lot of things, so I'm not going to list all of them. I'm just going to tell you that I can be found with Live from the Apocalypse at least once a week, most weeks. I'll be there at least like once or twice in the coming weeks. You can find out more details on my Twitter, where I'm always updating with the games that I'm in. You'll also be finding me with The Lost Caravan Wednesday of this week to play a game of Ghost Mountain, where I will be playing a gambler. Yeah, that's it for now.
Awesome. And JD, I know you have had quite the week in games.
We're all good. It's fine. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. Let's do this. I'm ready to be in the middle of a god war. Bring it on.
That's the dream. All right. And that brings us to tonight's episode of A Crumbling Foundation. When last we left off, our group had finally met back up with Captain Kennedy after an extended period of absence, upon which it was explained to them that he had made a new friend by the name of Mark, a strange, gentle person with some excess skin, and a whole bunch of very specific ideas, who had expressed that he was in need of some medical assistance for his people. It was also explained to the rest of the group that as they entered the city of Utopia, a sprawling city of flesh and bone and sinew, that this was only one of a few of these cities that inhabited the island they've found themselves on, and that there is a semblance of shared consciousness between all of the Denzians, both those who resemble ish traditional humans made of wet flesh, missing a couple of pieces, but occasionally making up for it with other extras, and what appear to be traditional folk. As we return, the group of you find yourselves inside of the fleshy recreation of the White House, sitting in what is fairly obviously distinguishable as the Oval Office, with Mark and the rest of you. And if I remember correctly, when we last left off, Mark had taken an extra special interest in one Agent Hart, glaring at you and stating that you reek of what you have to imagine to be the being you now know as Yaldabaoth, his brother. He lets out
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You did throw out an undistinguishable line of syllables. What was that name?
Yaldabaoth. I can put it in the chat if you would like.
Please.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. I did not catch it at all the first time.
Not a problem whatsoever.
I remember it, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Not a problem at all. And he proceeds to glare at you, eyes sort of tightening, and it's extra concerning considering all of the flesh of his forehead is pulled back taut, and you can see what seem to be almost tears forming along what would be forehead wrinkle creases along his flesh as he does.
Yes, I think I understand, at least a little bit. I have been introduced to your kin previously. Don't worry, I'm no more associated with him than I am with you, at least as far as I'm concerned.
I think we're going to roll some dice immediately out of the gate here. That feels to me like the perfect opportunity for a charisma, let's say persuade.
All right. Cool. 2d10, 2d8. And where is persuade, and why isn't it?
It is
all
under
the other
abilities.
skills? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. This character sheet makes me so cross-eyed.
That's totally
I
fair,
love it,
yeah.
but it makes me so cross-eyed. It's under abilities. Why can't I see this thing?
I think it's like 4 or 5
It's negotiate,
down.
persuade. I see. It starts with
Yes,
negotiate.
yeah, that's why. That's my apologies. Yeah.
Yes.
No worries.
That makes sense.
Not a great roll, and I don't think I can do anything about that. I can't spend.
No position on that. But I believe
I
you
can spend reverence
exactly
to roll,
what
and you know what? I'm
yes.
gonna do that because this feels kind of important.
Solid. Yeah, you get to spend 2 reverence for the reroll.
All right, that is better. $15.1.
You can see him kind of sitting with this information for a moment, and his eyes don't leave yours, even as the skin begins to sort of slough downwards.
I give him the same look back I did the other guy.
Tell me everything.
Everything is a lot. Everything relevant, at least that I can put together. I wouldn't necessarily say met. I don't think I've ever had any actual interaction with this fellow. But he's doesn't seem fit to stay within his own little domain like you have here. He's taken to going on a bit of a walkabout. I simply noticed, and in turn, I suppose he noticed me. We had a similar, I suppose, interaction. Much fewer words, if you could even consider them words. More smells and feeling of being watched, which is not unusual.
And you hear this horrible, almost like choking, gagging noise. And then he spits. This thick, meaty chunk hitting the carpet with a wet splat. Any like inspection of this thing immediately notes that there are some like teeth in it, along with what look like a couple wisps of hair and maybe even some eyelashes just sort of poking from it.
Lovely.
He goes, he keeps his hand in everything, ruins it with his existence. You have quite the silver tongue, my friend. Ensure it stays that way only in metaphor and hyperbole.
That is my intention. I do believe I have seen some of his work before. Not looking for that level of body modification.
Yes. That is strange and new, but no less outside of what would be expected of the usurper.
Just curious. I mean, when you say usurper, he wants to come here and take your home. Yeah, no.
And again, as he begins laughing, there's that rippling, just action throughout his entire form, and you can hear sort of bits of flesh clapping together as his whole body shakes. And then he stops very suddenly. Oh, I will tell you what I can. Over dinner, it is important that we fill ourselves with sustenance, though I will warn you that, as I'm sure none of you would be surprised to hear, the Foundation would not be pleased with me giving you all of it, but if it is what you like, I am happy to do so.
Yeah, screw him. Absolutely.
And this just, you see the grin sort of spread on his lips, and as it starts normally, but is still obviously unsettling, it spreads, and you can see the stretched flesh pull back even further as it goes almost literally ear to ear, and then slowly settles back in place. Is that how all of you feel?
Yeah, what Jackson said.
Jack, you had something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What exactly did he say?
Oh, not a problem. He goes, "Is that how all of you feel?"
No, before that. To what?
Oh, he said that the Foundation...
something that the Foundation doesn't want?
Yeah, the Foundation probably would not be very happy with you getting all of the information about anything.
Okay, cool. I understand.
Yeah.
In which I would reply very much the same. Information is very important.
I do find us woefully unprepared for some situations, though.
That does seem to be a hallmark of theirs.
I do have to say, I feel like Foundation intelligence might have dropped the ball here. We were told this island was deserted, which is clearly not the case.
I'm certain they would be pleased if it was. Perhaps it was wishful thinking on their part.
They seem to think that this brother of yours had something to do with it.
Yes, that does seem to make sense. It is his hope, if nothing else.
Well, I'm sure we all have plenty of questions and topics to discuss, but as you said, no reason to hang around here.
Good.
Just before we think about dinner, you said you need my well, your words, medical expertise. Is that an urgent requirement? I mean, I'm quite happy if you need me to go and look at some stuff. I'm quite happy to do that now if it's a kind of time-sensitive thing.
It is as urgent as it ever is in war. There is nothing that you will do that will turn the tide in the immediate, but over an extended period, perhaps.
Cool. Just checking.
Now then, allow me to have you shown to your rooms and given the opportunity to settle in. Then I shall summon you so we can sup and discuss. Is this acceptable for all of you?
Can I make a small request? Ida, I have been dying for a decent cup of tea. Like a proper decent cup of tea, and I have not had one in such a long time.
Do you have any preferences on the sort of
Just
tea?
Just normal, just tea.
We can certainly make that happen.
You're a good person. Person?
Not quite.
Is there a preference you have? I mean, I don't want to, offend.
There have been many that those who have known of me have used over the years. Deity, God, Father, Creator. You may take your pick. And if you so wish, friend.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that if that's okay with you.
Of course. Now then. And he just sort of turns away from you. And as he does, a group of five individuals walk through the door. And none of whom you recognize immediately. 4 of them are more of those utopians, who one of whom is actually wearing what looks like a pristine, crisp white, oversized t-shirt and a pair of jean shorts, but no shoes. The other 3 are what you've seen so far from all the other utopians here. And in the center of them is a fairly old gentleman, by the look of him, with sort of gray, white, silvery hair and cropped short and a thick beard. And he stands sort of shoulders squared, arms folded over the front of him in this very crisp gray suit and a long red tie that disappears into the overlapping buttoned top blazer. And he goes, 4 rooms then?
Five.
Well, the good Captain Kennedy already has a room.
Oh, okay, then yes, 4.
Yeah, I'm all sorted.
Yes, 4. 4 sounds good.
All right. Just wanted to ensure we did not offend by separating any of you who shared a residence.
I think we've all shared a residence for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to have a room to ourselves.
Yes.
Just for the, the silence. I mean, oh.
Yes, I imagine that would be a welcome change.
I'm almost offended. Almost.
And he reaches up to sort of motion towards the door. And as he does, I would like everyone to roll me a perception.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I think this is a perception awareness. Perception awareness reaction.
Perception awareness. There it is.
Where is
man.
it? Tell me.
It's the first one on
under
abilities.
abilities, yeah.
Abilities, all right. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. See,
There's a-
the Roll20 sheet, they completely rearrange everything.
So I will begin this by saying that Liam has been in the back of this entire conversation behind everyone else. And whoever's closest to him will hear every once in a while a faint tapping of his finger next to the trigger. And most likely the reason why I rolled so badly is because Liam is currently just staring at
Eyes
this,
trained.
on this behemoth before him, because he just rolled a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.9.
Oh, I got you beat there, friend. I got a 4.5.
Oof.
Go on, sorry.
Tal, go ahead. You rolled first.
16 for me.
Ooh.
22.7.
14.7.
Ooh. So anyone who rolled a 10 or higher will notice as he motions towards the door. There's a tattoo on his palm. Anyone with a 13 or higher notices that it looks like a rabbit in a circle. That is fairly reminiscent of the logo of the Foundation.
Oh.
And he steps to the side, allowing the group of you to exit if you choose.
I would like to fall in next to the lieutenant.
Certainly.
The lieutenant will follow behind everyone else. So if that's where Tal wants to put Kennedy, that's where he'll be.
And for the rest of you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, and just in a very casual conversation as we're wandering now, you'd just be going, do you know what? It's I've learned so much already from my short time here. Yeah. It's amazing what you can learn. They seem really open and friendly.
The goggled eyes will turn to look at Kennedy slowly as they walk to wherever they're walking.
The face is very straight and very kind of, I've learned lots of stuff and I want to continue learning stuff. There's kind of subtext of, this is all our intel now. Whether the lieutenant picks up on that, I don't know.
I think Liam would probably get the subtext of this and kind of just gently nod. Tal knows Liam. Liam is bristling at the moment.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're surrounded by them, and
you're surrounded by targets.
Just like, okay, yep, that's just intel.
Liam will just very silently walk alongside Kennedy, and eyes like dart, like behind the black goggles, eyes just darting around, paranoid, on edge.
And for the rest of you, anything that you would like to do?
I feel like if Zura is open to it, Zach just falls in step with her and just starts to share everything he was noticing about the architecture and just like sharing science notes, probably commenting on that horrific flesh, teeth, hair, eyelash monstrosity that was spit out, and just chatting about science.
Yeah, definitely. Zura actually is lingering on one concept. She's just like, they claim they're in battle with each other, but they're both very intrinsically combined. How do I explain this? It seems as though Yaldabaoth shares similar DNA with the planet or the island. Like, the apple we dug up, right? They grew a tree and gave us an apple and we did samples on it. That's closer from Mark's reckoning to Yaldabaoth than it is to Mark. And yet Mark just spat out matter. Like I think it was living tissue. I was going to collect it, but I wasn't sure if that was rude.
We should figure out what etiquette is.
Yeah. Maybe I can ask Mark. I don't want to really ask that question though.
I could ask that question.
Could you? Because it feels so weird. Like, you ask people for blood samples, and that's fine. But do you ask people if you can scoop up their?
Can I overhear this conversation?
If you want to.
Yes.
She's not being quiet.
just from the back. Okay, I can't believe I need to say this. Nobody's collecting samples. If etiquette-wise, what if you just randomly were talking to people in the street and you said, "Hey, see that tissue you just wiped your nose with? I'd like that, please."
Don't please do that all the time. They wait for someone to discard a cup and they take it.
Yeah,
it's true.
And how does the individual feel when they do that? They feel like they're being threatened in some way.
Well, in this circumstance, we'd be asking directly, and I would be comparing Mark's DNA to Yaldabaoth's DNA structure.
All I'm saying is there will probably be... No, in fact, I'd want to see how this plays out.
Actually, now that I think of it, Zura will stop in the hallway, take out a needle, and stab the wall. Take a blood sample.
Sure, yeah, give me one moment.
Should I have asked before stabbing the architecture? I don't know.
I will just say, while all of this is going on, this conversation, stabbing the wall, whatever it may be, I am up with the finely dressed gentleman and whoever else is with us, just trying to maintain small talk enough to distract from all of this.
Sure. Okay. Why don't...
I know, it's a super itchy, so I'm gonna do something weird. Okay,
is there a skill check for stabbing the wall to get DNA?
No, I don't think so. I think
we're see on the list.
No, I think we're looking more for... I'm gonna call this an acting charisma for you to keep this finely dressed gentleman's attention away from the wall being stabbed and the conversation that is happening.
This is a roll for Hart, I assume.
This is a roll for Hart.
Hart is on decoy. Yeah.
All right, cool. 2d10, 2d8. You know what? I'm gonna use some different dice because those ones are not my friend today.
Just stabbing walls. It's not a normal Tuesday.
I mean, it's a giant flesh wall.
Much better.
If I can't find a vein, I don't know. And like, I give up on my job.
That's a 19.9.
Oh, very nice. And the other thing I will ask, Zura, are you specifically looking for a vein, or are you just trying to get into that matter?
She's a professional here. She will actually get into a vein if she can find one.
Wonderful. Then I am actually going to ask for a roll. I am going to ask you for a... where is it? I know it's here. An anatomy intelligence roll.
Oh God. Anatomy intelligence.
And we're discussing the fashion of Utopia because I wanna know where this guy got his suit
Absolutely.
and what
So-
everybody else wears.
I will mention I do not have skill in this, but I rolled a 13.
Great. Awesome. Also, because it is a knowledge, if you'd like, you can roll a d8 and add
Okay.
that in percentile to the skill.
3. Or
Okay.
0.3, rather.
Great. Yeah. So you add 0.3 to that skill. You now have that. Okay. So we're gonna start with you, Hart. So you said you had sort of walked up to the front to engage the gentleman.
Yes.
And as you sort of come up, he looks over at you. He offers you sort of a warm but almost stern smile. He just stays silent, walking beside you until you engage him in conversation.
Well, excuse me, sir, if I may, I am admiring your fine suit here. I've not noticed. We haven't been here long, obviously, but I haven't noticed too much of the fashion scene here in Utopia. Very fine quality, and I have an eye for that. I admire it.
I can tell.
Well, I am a little dressed down.
Well, yes, of course. Suits are not the ideal outfit for what I have to imagine was presented as some sort of island expedition.
Right.
They do love their... The word escapes me now. Subversion. But, to answer your question, I was lucky not too long ago, about a year back. Some people found their way here who had quite the impeccable style, and they decided to stay and share some of their goods. And now, I get to feel like a new man all over again.
Excellent. It sounds like you have quite a growing community here.
That is the hope. We have unfortunately suffered our fair share of losses lately, but we do what we can.
Well, I wish you all the best in that endeavor. I can't speak too much to combat or medicine like some of my colleagues may be able to, but I can speak to being finely dressed, and it seems you have acquired quite skillful tailors.
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
How long have you been with the Foundation?
Oh, not very long.
I can tell.
I prefer to see myself more as a free agent on retainer.
As so many others do when they first arrive, he says as he puts his hand on your shoulder. The Foundation has a way of pulling you in and keeping you. They don't like to let go of their toys.
Well, I've had plenty of people in organization try to keep a hold of me.
Oh.
I can be quite slippery.
Mm-hmm. Quite right. Quite right. Zura, you step a bit off to the side, and it's surprisingly easy to find a vein when your walls are all made of flesh. And you manage to just get the needle directly into the vein. Pulling back on the plunger, there is this almost neon sort of golden liquid that pours into it.
Okay. I like to imagine, because I do have actual skill in nurturing, I am doing the whole like alcohol swab, cleaning it up first, a little iodine.
Heck yeah, absolutely.
And when I withdraw the needle, I actually kind of like I hold a cotton swab, just waiting for to stop bleeding. But I am horrified by the cold liquid. I'm like, what is this?
And as you withdraw the needle, the entirety of the wall shudders a bit.
Sorry.
and you can see what looks like muscle beneath the flesh tightening up. But there is no bleeding after you remove it.
Since Liam was in the back, he probably would have caught her moving to the wall and doing this. Liam would have moved himself into a position where if any of the others turned around, Liam would have been blocking the view.
Does Liam respond or react at all to the wall moving?
No.
Okay. Perfect.
I just take my sample and put it in my bag.
Sure. Not.
Awesome.
I will. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Oh,
and
yeah.
As soon as Zura moves away from the wall, Liam, gun still out, just kind of walks next to her silently.
Do you disapprove?
No.
Mm.
You're kind of inscrutable when you're wearing your mask.
There's a slight cock to the head, and it turns and looks at her. That's kind of the point.
Yeah. Though, if I might say, I can tell you're uncomfortable at the very least. And you know what? It's fair. I am vastly uncomfortable with this.
You have no idea. And there's actually a shudder to his voice. Like there is something like really getting at him here. And he's just walking, and still there's that tapping that she notices of his finger against the side of the trigger guard.
Just as you're kind of tucking the sample away, I'll just very casually in a low kind of murmur to you as we're walking up, just be like, "That's interesting. One group has golden blood, and one group has viscous black blood."
It is quite curious. If we all remember correctly, though, that was DNA comprised of all the people that were in that building in some way, right, Dr. Ryan?
Yep.
That sounds right to me. I mean, other things that shouldn't have been there, but yeah, that there was definitely a lot of overlap with the DNA.
So, whose DNA is this, do we think?
That's what we're here to find out, isn't it? Also, Jackson,
Yeah.
Are they holding you hostage? Have they taken you prisoner? Are you in danger?
No. They've been remarkably civilized, and nobody's tried to kill me, probe me, take any samples or anything on those lines. Quite willing to share information. It's it's a nice change. Normally there's something trying to kill us, and
but Jackson, I mean, this is like cult behavior.
I'm just enjoying it whilst it's lasts. Oh, don't get me wrong.
That's how they get you.
I'm fully anticipating that at some point one of them's going to try and stab me, or I don't know, eat me, or something on those lines. Don't worry about that. It's always on the back of my mind that it's going to go wrong in some way. But more than anything else, we're learning stuff.
Theory.
And as long as they're telling us stuff, I will be happy to digest, record, and trust me, no one is going to get the drop on me.
I wish you hadn't said digest, given the circumstances that we're in. I'm just saying they're going to convince us that this is a good place to be. They're going to convince us that this is better for us. And I don't want anyone to be caught off guard by that.
Okay. This is a giant building made of living flesh. And now,
yes,
I know that where we're staying at the site, it's got its issues, but it's it's not alive, and it's not likely to try and strangle me during the night or any of those kind of things. So I have no intention of relocating here.
I'm
Plus,
just making sure. I'm just making sure.
They haven't even got the internet.
I mean, on the one hand, good reason to go back. On the other, we're isolated. That's all.
As Liam's walking, further back from where our friend Hart is. Liam is going to look over at Kennedy. Any idea who that is? And he points over at or not point, but nods over at the gray-suited individual.
I mean, he's clearly ex-Foundation. Would I potentially know him or recognize him? Because I've been at the Foundation, but no, I was off at a completely different site, wasn't I? So probably not.
You could roll me a fate.
I would love to. Unless, of course, you need a score more than 8. Right, let's give it a go. Because you never know, I might get an exploding dice.
Yeah.
Fate.
In the meantime, we have a hydrate check. Thank you, Metatemptress.
6.
No, I don't think you recognize this gentleman.
I mean, he's clearly been here for a while. He clearly got their trust. And he clearly hasn't asked to go back. I mean, I guess for some people, maybe this is a way out. You know what what organizations are like at keeping people until they're no longer useful.
No,
I think maybe this is places like a retirement village. You can't leave the organization because you know too much. So you come here and they can't touch you. You do get that you can never leave either organization, don't you?
No, did not know that. In fact, I know a few individuals who have retired from the GOC.
Oh, quick question. Did they go and get themselves a nice farm somewhere upstate?
No, I think it was down in Cork, actually.
Yeah. Nice farm, horses, dogs, that kind of thing.
I think it was actually a medical marijuana farm.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. We don't get to well, I mean, you and I weren't planning to retire anyway. I mean, I suspect both of us know that we're going to get killed out in the field somewhere. But the rest of them, they don't get to retire. No, too much.
I think you've been in the SCP Foundation for too long there, Kennedy.
Well, trust me, I fully aware of my options.
So, what do you two think about a potential? And again, he's keeping his voice low to make sure that no one ahead of him can hear him.
Sure.
Let's see. Does that
At about that time, I think the group of you come to a stop at a long hallway with about 8 or 9 doors lining it. The doors seem to be crafted of a mixture of wood and sort of carved bone for the the outline of the door, and the well-dressed gentleman sort of turns and motions and goes, "You are welcome to take any of the rooms here you would like," and then points 3 doors down on the left side of the hallway and goes, "Except for that one, that is Captain Kennedy's room. If there's anything that you would like us to have brought to you, as far as a change of clothes or anything else, please do not hesitate to ask. There will be someone here at all times. Consider them an attendant. I understand more than most that may come off as a bit unsettling, but though it may seem like we are keeping an eye on you, I hope you will come to understand that of the things we have to fear here, you are not one of them."
Good. Do you have a library here with historical records of this place?
You can see that he looks troubled for a moment, as he seems to be struggling with how to respond to that, and his eyes sort of dart back and forth as he processes for a moment. He looks back up and he goes, "Well, of a sort, but perhaps that is best left until after dinner tonight, where you can be a bit more educated on the situation and life as it is here. I know full well from my own experiences how jarring some of the things that are done here can seem to outsiders."
I just kind of give like this blank nod, like, yes.
But after that, if you are still interested, we will not hinder you and will be happy to escort you there and leave you to your own devices.
Okay. That sounds great. Looking forward to dinner.
Wonderful. Yes.
What is being served?
He stops again for a moment, and you see his eyes sort of glaze over the same way that they did earlier. Well, I hope that none of you are on a restricted diet, although if you are, we can certainly make some changes. We have a lovely bit of roast pheasant for dinner tonight, prepared with a, unfortunately, fairly standard side salad and some roasted potatoes and, I believe, nice red, but I couldn't tell you what kind, because apparently that hasn't been decided yet.
I see.
Sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm.
See in Zura's mind is just like when it's mentioned pheasant, is the press X to doubt is happening. But yeah.
When Zach hears that last bit about it hasn't been decided yet, he's just like, okay, interesting.
Fair.
Well, it was nice meeting you, sir. Thank you for showing us to our rooms.
Of
Not
course.
your room. It's of course my room.
Well, yes, my room is elsewhere. But I am always happy to show any of you my room as well, if you are feeling lonely in any way. With
Are
that,
we still in the White House?
yes, you are.
Okay.
I give him a single raised eyebrow. But sir, before you go, if it's not too much of an imposition, since we are attending such a lovely dinner, could I trouble you for a similar suit? I did not pack any of my own for this little excursion.
Of course. Do you have any preference? Color, cut, brand?
Given the, let's go with a light tan, perhaps a blue tie, slim, 42 long.
Absolutely, we can have that done. If you have specific measurements, write them out, hand them off to the attendant, and we will know.
Very much appreciated.
One of the useful upsides to being here. Anything else I can get for the rest of you? Good. Then I will see you at dinner. I look forward to it. Been a while.
Is it still the middle of the night?
Are you asking that, or are
Sorry,
you
I'm
Jack
asking you,
that?
Lion.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are no windows in this hallway, but you can assume it's still nighttime because it hasn't been that long. It would, the best way for me to phrase it, I suppose, would be to say, if you were to look out a window and see it being daytime, you would be very surprised.
Cool.
All right. With that, yes.
What do you say? Take 10 minutes or so to freshen up, and then we'll maybe all catch up and share some stories, perhaps.
Sure. I'll
Doc?
be in this room, and she puts her hand on a door.
And I think Zach just puts his hand on the door across from Zura's and is like, yeah, I'll take this one. 10 minutes.
Dr. Ryan, could you roll me a charisma psychology roll, please?
Okay, I'm not rolling real dice. Let me remember that. That's...
You can if you want to.
This is not going to be great, but that's okay. That is a 9.9.
Dr. Ryan, you notice as you settle on the door that the Utopian wearing the long white t-shirt and, for lack of a better term, jorts, seems to be watching the group of you fairly intently, and you can see that they are sort of shifting themselves to sort of mimic the way that each of you are standing in turn. And just sort of, it almost feels to you like they are trying it on.
Interesting.
The doors themselves, are they also made of flesh with like a bone handle? Like
The doors are made of wood and bone.
And do they have any markings on them?
There are some sort of like carved in grooves that go all the way down the center of them, but there don't seem to be any specific or like eye-catching designs or markings. They're fairly simple.
Geez, where would be the most strategically placed position for... So right now, did Zura and Zach take the front two doors, basically, like the closest to the entrance?
Very practical. Zura would have just taken the closest one.
Yeah.
Right. Shit. That's where Liam should have been. But Liam is going to take the door across from Kennedy, which would be the exact opposite of this all at the end of the end of the hallway, I'm supposing.
Yeah, absolutely. As the group of you retire to your rooms, you all find the same thing. The rooms inside are fairly lavish, each with its own window looking out onto the still night, the moon-lit city, and the sort of gardens that grow around it. For those of you who spend enough time looking out this window, you will probably come to the realization that the blades of grass are less likely grass and more likely to be thin threads of hair that are just sort of growing in a way that mimics grass. The rooms themselves are, like I said, very nice, well lit. There's a large king-sized bed in each of them with what you will find very quickly to be incredibly soft sheets and a very soft mattress as well.
Baby skin.
I hope not.
Soft as a baby's bottom.
Complete with a full walk-in bathroom with a large standing shower along with a tub beside it, like a clawfoot tub, fully stocked with robes and toilet paper and towels, hand towels, and everything else you would need. There is a long, sort of rectangular, well-carved wooden table that has clearly been upkept well, sitting in the back far corner. And on it is, for each of you, a pad that has on it sheets of very simple white-lined paper, and beside it is resting a simple number 2 pencil.
Liam enters the room, shuts the door behind him, and just stands there and stares. Like, he's just waiting for the next step. He refuses to take or touch anything in this room. And just kind of just waits at the door until someone knocks for him to move on to the next course of action. There is a give me 1 second. I just did this, but I want to make sure I got it right.
Sure.
So any real nerds out there will be able to yell at me for saying this incorrectly, but Liam under his breath is whispering "Humanitas Dominator" over and over again.
Interesting.
Okay.
And while Liam is doing the classic NPC waiting animation.
Yes, he just T-poses on the other side.
Oh, he's not doing like the slight bounce.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally resetting.
Yep.
What about
just like kicks at the ground for a second and then yeah.
I'm hoping that I've got tea in my room.
Yes, actually, Jackson, as you return to your room,
Excellent.
There's a nice mug of tea waiting for you.
I shall just savor that.
And it is wonderful. It may be a bit bold to say the best tea you've ever had, but it's pretty up there. And especially after so long of just having to deal with the Foundation packaged tea.
Yeah.
This is
Lipton.
yeah, like Lipton. This is wonderful. You even notice as you like go about drinking it, the bag seems to have been like almost carefully stitched. There's like an uneven stitching to it that suggests it was done by hand.
Just kind of staring out, just enjoying the view. Taking it all in.
Wonderful. Everyone else?
For Zura's part, the moment she enters that room, she has a flurry of activity. She is setting up some of her kit to try and like start synthesizing a sample out of this blood, and she's got rubber gloves on, and she's going and searching all of the furniture to see which of it is flesh.
Sure, all of the furniture, as you look over it, does seem to be made of wood. It does stand out to you that there is zero metal involved in anything here. Everything is either wood or little bits of like bone that have been sort of splintered into the wood, and
Which is
function as sort of like the pegs under the legs of the bed or for the table or anything else.
That's interesting because that's in sharp contrast to Yaldabaoth. But yeah, I feel much better having recognized that because I did not want to sleep on flesh bed. So this is nice.
But maybe flesh bed's so comfortable.
It's warm and it embraces you.
No,
It's like
you
a
get
hug.
hugs while you sleep.
we hate it.
If it's too late for me to retcon this, but I like this idea and we'll put it in the bank for later.
But yes, me not being a phlebotomist, I don't know what processes you do to actually analyze blood, but she's doing that right now.
Yeah, not a problem whatsoever. You have your gear with you, I assume, for this. You didn't leave anything at camp, correct?
Yeah, I panic packed all of my important stuff because I was gonna chase Malos into the city, right?
Mm-hmm. So
If something's missing, that's fair, because that would totally happen.
No, I think it's reasonable to say that you've got everything that you need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you roll for me there are a couple of options you can take from this based on just what the most personally intensive part of this process is. You could do another anatomy int if you would like. You could roll for me a flat science intelligence. Or I would also accept a technology intelligence for working the device.
I think science is kind of what I want to go for.
Absolutely, go for
it. 20.4.
Very nice. All right, so it's going to take most of the 10 minutes for everything to process. And in the meantime, whatever you are doing, eventually that sharp sort of double beep goes off that alerts you that it is finished processing. When you return, there are a couple of things that you find. You find all of the basic markers that you would expect to see in any human being's blood, except all of these levels are elevated almost to the point of impossibility. This is just beyond what you could possibly ever imagine seeing in any one living being, or at least for someone who isn't involved in the Foundation. This is far beyond anything you could have imagined. This is well within like the lines of someone who has like hypertension, someone who is dealing with diabetes, someone who has incredibly like high blood pressure. Everything that would be beyond a death sentence for most people is prevalent here. There's also a almost astronomically impossible cholesterol level here. And beyond that, there are a number of materials and bits of feedback that it doesn't have a way to express. There is just error besides percentiles. But even then, the numbers that are coming up are impossible no matter what it might have been.
Now, my big question is this one person or many people?
So, the looking over it, it doesn't seem to have been able to discern if it is a single genetic code. So it is easy for you to make the assumption that this is many people.
Okay.
And I assume this would include some kind of like a genealogy test in there as well, which comes back with everything. Just run down as a list. Everything.
That's interesting. I will catalog that away in my brain. I'll probably tell Dr. Ryan about it like as soon as I see him.
Speaking of Dr. Ryan.
Yeah, just run out into the hallway, like door slamming. Dr. Ryan, Dr. Ryan.
Zach, who I think prior to that was looking out the window, just getting his bearings. Actually, before he responds to Zura, Lion, now that I have the name Yaldabaoth,
yes,
could I do either an occult or a religion check?
You can absolutely roll me a religion check.
Sweet.
I would also like to do that.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Now, Tal, if I screw this up because I didn't put another 0.5 into my occult, I'm blaming you.
17.6.
Ooh, very nice.
Well, that's an exploding D10. Wow. Okay, Tal, I love you. That was a good roll. Shit. I lost track. 31.5.
Okay, well then you both get all of this. Yaldabaoth is a name that you both recognize from a number of different points in religious history through different cultures. And there are other names that you recognize as being connected to that term. One of which is the name Saklis, which is an Aramaic term, first found in the Apocryphon of John, which is a book from the 2nd century, a sort of Sethian Gnostic, like Gothic Christian text that's supposedly attributed to John the Apostle. There are a number of other places where you've heard this name attributed to others as well, the most popular of which, that most definitely you would both recognize, is Yahweh. More often than not, Yaldabaoth or Yahweh is presented as some kind of lion-headed serpent. And in many beliefs that acknowledge their existence, he is referred to as a sort of usurper god. He was a member of a pantheon, and through whatever doings, because a lot of different sects have different ideas on how it came to be, he effectively forced his way to the top of said pantheon and did away with the other gods that he shared reign with.
And is that translated all to who MacCern is?
Well, using that, you can assume that it is from a I keep wanting to use the term Canaanite, but I know that's not the one I'm looking for. I apologize. But yes, it is. I'm thinking of the right term. I apologize for that. Like I said, been a long month. But yes, from the Canaanite religion, it is entirely possible that Mark is most likely either Baal or El. Although it is much more likely that he would be Baal, as based on those belief structure and the way that pantheon was built, El was the ruler of the pantheon and seen more as a father figure than a sibling to the rest of them.
So we think that this is El. No, we think
no,
this
you
is
think
Baal.
this is Baal. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Incredible. And so I think with that, after getting that information, Zach is in the process of gathering up like handouts that he is trying to write out on the bite model of cult behavior so he can hand that to every person and everybody can be on the lookout for it when he hears Zura, and like probably meets her in the hallway because he hears her calling his name.
She's in the doorway, bouncing up and down excitedly, like, come on, look what I found.
What did you find?
And I will point to my laptop showing all the values of this blood.
That's, I mean, it's ridiculous to say that's impossible because obviously it's not impossible, but
I think it's broken every chart. This is incredible. It is. Are you a religious person?
I study religion, but I wouldn't call myself religious.
It feels like this was the beginning in some way, like all stems from here. Like this sounds very strange, but I'm reminded of the story of the Tower of Babel, where people came together and God smited them down, separated them.
And I think that is where Zach probably starts info dumping everything that he just remembered. And then like midway through realizes that the others are not there and he should probably hit pause and wait for them.
We can have this as a group conversation. That'd be really cool.
And I think right there is where the camera cuts over to a knock at Agent Hart's door.
Okay. Yeah, how long did that take? How long was
About
I?
5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll head over to the door. Does it have a little
It does not. It does not have
Okay.
a little peephole.
No, I'll just open it up.
Sure. Standing before you is the same utopian from earlier in the crisp white tee and jorts, and they are holding a hanger on which is the suit that you requested, and draped over their other arm is the tie.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Welcome. And as you go to like close the door, you notice they don't seem to move at all. They're just sort of standing there as you close the door.
Yep. No, I just give them a polite nod and slowly close the door.
Certainly.
As Liam is processing all of this religious information,
Yeah.
Liam is going to pull out his skidoo, which is his family dagger, and go to one of the walls.
Okay.
And he unclips the top that is covered. So there's an insignia of the GOC on the top.
Mm-hmm.
He unclips the top, and underneath the main insignia is the insignia of his actual order. And he just takes
Would you
that
like
and,
to take a moment and remind everyone what that looks like?
2 swords raised to the sky. If I remember it correctly, it was the divine shall fall.
Mm-hmm.
And he presses that to the wall, not the blade, just the insignia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as you do, you sort of like pull it away. It's almost like silly putty. It is now in the wall on the fleshy bit.
He will put the cap back on, put the blade back into the sheath, and turn and walk out the door.
Sure. And we will cut back to Agent Hart. What are you getting up to during this time?
Yes, I would like to ask because I am quite curious. You said there was no metal in here. So what fresh horror is the shower like in this facility?
That's a wonderful question, and one I was really hoping someone would ask about, so thank you for that. Well, the frame of the shower is what seems like bone. Unfortunately, wood would rot and would not work here. There is obviously a bit of a ceramic bottom to it and base, but the basic framework that the glass is seated between for the like sliding door of the shower is crafted out of bone, as is the head of the shower, which is set up sort of like a rainfall shower. It is a pristine ivory. It is perfect, as are the dials for the shower itself. You can almost see your reflection in these things.
All right. I will purposely push back my internal questioning of what the plumbing in this facility is like.
That's a valid question.
Turn on the water and just let it run for a little bit. Make sure there's no weird smell. Make sure there's no weird residue.
Sure.
Stick a hand in it. Make sure it's fine.
Yeah.
But I assume it all checks out.
Yeah, it all checks out. In fact, it even comes out already hot.
All right. Very nice. Yeah, Hev's gonna take a shower. get nice and clean. It's probably been a couple days on this island with sand and running and oily tentacle monsters. Yeah, so I'll take a shower, enjoy that for a bit. I know we said 10-minute meetup, so I guess I have to be a little quick. I'll probably be a little late. I'm gonna enjoy this a little bit.
Fashionably late.
Fashionably late. Yeah, I'll enjoy that. I'll get out of the shower. I'll put my new fancy suit on, which is very much appreciated. And I think I will just take a moment to walk around the room and admire the craftsmanship of the furniture here, which I assume is also of pretty high quality.
Yes, it is. It is all very, very carefully, and purposefully crafted. Yes.
All right. I don't think I have much to get up to on my own, except just relax a little bit. But I'll get myself together and then head back out into the hallway. I will say, actually, I didn't want to interrupt, but I imagine we all hear Zura screaming for Zachary during the middle of all this.
Yeah, I assume Zura is not quiet at all, right?
So that is probably the reason why he didn't spend too long in the shower. I think before I actually put myself together, I'm going to quickly hop out of the shower, throw a towel on, burst open out into the hallway door, look out, and just give Zoe you're fine, and shake my head and close the door.
Yeah, I'm mid bounce and I just go, hey.
Then I will go back in, get myself together, admire the state, and head back out, probably to Dr. Ryan's room, since I saw Zoe go in there.
Okay, but I just have to say, I think Zach like pokes his head out right at that moment and does catch sight of Hev, and then just kind of stares after him.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, Zura, what's going on?
Wet, sheening, muscular body.
The classic Bond look.
Of course, yeah.
It's wetting in a towel. It's got to be in every movie.
I couldn't not take advantage of that.
Secret agent.
The towel's just a little. It's a custom made towel. It's just a little shorter than your regular bath towel.
Just a little bit, yeah. And I think with that, as the group of you begin to bring yourselves together and prepare for a lovely dinner, that's where we're going to take a break. Thank you all for sticking with us up until this point. We hope you've been enjoying it. I know I have. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. We're going to go take a break, use the bathroom, walk around, get some water, grab a snack, do whatever we got to do that doesn't keep us here in front of a computer screen, because it's important to take those breaks. And when we do, you should too. Go take a walk, get a snack, use the bathroom, grab some water, but be back, because we'll be here in 15 minutes with more of a Crumbling Foundation. See you then. Hey everyone, we're back. Hope that you had a good break. We did. We're really excited to get back into it. So, that's what we're going to do. As we return, I believe the group of you have begun to reassemble. Agent Hart, you said you had wanted to go to Dr. Ryan's room? Once you
I just figured
returned?
that's where we were all meeting since Zoe ran in there.
Certainly.
Before we go into that real quick, before
Yeah.
we all gather, does Liam know the original way to write Baal's name in ancient Canaanite?
Why don't we do there is an ancient languages roll. Let's do an intelligence ancient languages roll.
I can't make it a religion roll?
Not for this one, because it is specifically about the like written language.
Liam, you know someone who has this information.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
but Liam wanted to pull this out of his ass.
But I wanted to know it.
So I'm just gonna roll straight intelligence.
Okay.
And then
Because it is, I believe, a knowledge skill, you can roll to add to it.
Okay. Do I do that roll first?
Yes.
Okay, that's a 2, so I get a 0.2 in it. Yay, wow, that's gonna make a difference.
Yay. It could.
I rolled a 1, so it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.2.
I'm going to say you do not.
Okay. All right, so my original plan is out the window. It's
Jackson, Liam, the two of you will also hear, obviously, when Zura begins banging on the door and is shouting. If that is when you'd like to respond. Otherwise, obviously, as we get past the 10 minutes, we can move forward.
Just give a big... Take a long sip from my mug and take it with me as I head out the door.
Love it. Now, the important question is, do you make it out in time to see Hart in his cell?
Just as he's heading back in and kind of like a raised eyebrow, like, okay.
And standing right beside the door is the Utopian from before who had delivered Hart his suit.
I was going to say, I think as all of this chaos like erupts and people are coming out, that is probably also when Zura is like motioning for Zach to go to her room. And so you just see the nerds disappear in there and are already talking by the time the rest of you join them.
Yeah.
I assume that is probably our best point to pick up, is with the rest of you joining them in Zura's room.
She would probably reiterate what she had found and what she considers to be the Tower of Babel stuff to the rest of you once you arrive. And I'm assuming Dr. Ryan will, well, do you reiterate everything?
I think he would at least start to.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to lay out all of the pieces. And I mean, I think he looks very excited because based on the results that Zura has, he's just like, I think we have scientific proof of divinity. I never imagined something like this.
which would make it, and Liam will pause for a moment, which would make, if we are going to take this to its logical conclusion, the lion-headed one is known as Yahweh.
The question: does this mean? So where we are, is this heaven or hell?
Considering this is a pantheon, of which I know slight about, not much, but I do not know of the conceptions of heaven and hell as you know it in more Christian ideal. would even be pertinent to this situation.
Is there an insight in this game?
There is I think maybe empathy would probably be the closest thing to an insight. Empathy or awareness, which would both get you different information.
Would you be comfortable with me rolling an empathy on you to
I would love it.
All right.
Can I ask what you're trying to gauge so I can think about what you would need to roll for?
Yeah, you just your I don't know much about pantheons, but
that part, yeah.
you've demonstrated that you've been on even more of an edge than you usually are. And I just want to see if I can pick up any extra strain from this conversation.
I think
basically
what we'll do here is I am going to ask you to roll me a lie charisma check, and we can then compare those results.
No, okay.
no, please, go ahead.
He's not actually trying to hide anything. If he can, if Hart catches him in that little hiccup, I don't even think Liam knows that there's a lot more information out there than he has.
Mm-hmm.
So his idea is it's more of a subjective view than any him actually lying.
Okay, cool with that.
I rolled 2 exploding d8s.
Ooh.
Nice.
For a total of 19.1.
So I guess with my SCP occult of 3.5, I would ask our dear DM Lion, what is Liam's general knowledge of the divinity that he has?
Well, I think based on the organization that he is in, the subsect of the GOC, and their goals, probably a reasonable bit. And this particular pantheon is not. While there is a lot of missing information, I think it would be reasonable to say that any information that is available to a person with an hour or two to Google would be easy for you to be able to pick at. And beyond that, not anything that would stand out as being immediately important. Is there anything in particular you're looking to see if you know?
No, I'm just trying to answer Hart's inquiry about specifically. It seems like he's trying to gauge Liam's general knowledge of religion.
I'm more trying to gauge how do I put this? I'm not trying to determine whether you are holding back or lying about anything. More just any sort of, I guess, personal stake in what you are saying. How much this legitimately matters to you, and in what way?
Very, very much matters to him, and in a very malicious way. Yes.
All right.
He, as you already know, Liam has a general hatred of all things SCP. There seems to be something beyond that here. Yes.
Gotcha. My apologies, though I interrupted you.
No, that's it. I'm good.
So, just to clarify, we are in the personal space of a god.
Yes.
More or less. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can assume that they know everything we're thinking, everything we're going to do. There is no point in hiding anything from them, is there?
I don't know if I would go that far. I was watching earlier, and I saw how they communicate with each other, where that knowledge passes back and forth. That wasn't the case when Mark touched you, Jackson. he wasn't reading you the way that he interacted with some of his followers.
Well,
Okay.
that is, I believe, because you're not quite assimilated. I say that because, well, everything we've seen so far has kind of led to that conclusion. They need more matter to fight the war, as it were.
Both sides looking to assimilate others, because that's what the Lion's doing as well as Mark.
From my own knowledge, Lion,
Mm.
as someone who already knows, or at least has a general understanding that there are multiple pantheons out there that actually exist, I would have kind of an understanding that omnipotence, even among divinity, is kind of rare.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable thing to say Liam would believe.
From my understanding, the different gods, depending on their domains, as it were, do not have a overarching knowledge of everything that is occurring, nor do they have innate knowledge of what we are thinking or doing, which gets into a nice little philosophical discussion about free will. But no, I do not believe that this one, nor the one we met before, has any knowledge of our inmost thoughts.
Okay. So on that note,
I would caution, however, and I go over and run a finger down the flesh wall, I wouldn't be surprised if these walls do literally have ears.
Hate that.
True.
Keep that in mind as you're having very blatant conversations walking down a hallway.
The other question is, can we be extinguished with just a thought or a gesture or a wave? I mean, from the bits I remember from Sunday school, you know,
This is
just
not your
a
Sunday
quick
school god, Kennedy.
Yeah, true, but a snap of the fingers and that's it, you're out. I mean,
From my limited understanding, humanity as people and religion as a collective, I won't go too far into it, has a way of exaggerating things to help draw people in.
okay. I would hate to kind of, make a social faux pas here and suddenly we're all, bodies that are being made into a gazebo or something along those lines.
I'm certain they could bring plenty of forces to bear, but I don't think we're in any danger of being smitten. Smote?
Zach is staring at Liam because he's pretty surprised by the names that Liam has been dropping so far. And he's just studying him and says,
I will say Liam is maskless. The mask is on his side right now.
Lieutenant MacCern, I didn't think you were as studied in religion and philosophy as you seem to be.
I shall take that as a compliment.
It was meant as one.
This is all fascinating stuff, admittedly. Philosophical conversations
I mean, it's not
about
philosophical.
biology and whatnot.
I mean, we have data. I mean, look at Zura's computer. This is incredible.
Sure.
And on that, are they going to let us just leave with God DNA? Is that likely? Because I don't know. I don't really want us taking that away to somewhere that could synthesize it or do,
It's quite
just
possible.
saying we could face some issues in getting that data out of here.
Yeah.
My greater concern would be its rate of proliferation. Do we want to bring that off of this island?
I have a good bet it's already off the island. If the Foundation came here, they would grab a sample and they would probably put it in a vault somewhere, let it collect dust.
But do you think anyone's ever left from the Foundation?
Like me or you?
Like anybody that came here before?
I do believe Sadie said there were
There was
reports and other teams that have come back before. It's only
Mhm.
recently that it's been an issue.
Reports.
They were telling the
Mhm.
I
truth,
mean,
that is.
this hasn't exactly been going according to any of the reports and briefings we were given.
That is something I wanted to discuss.
I don't even know what we're doing here now.
Exactly.
Yes.
We were told that people were missing, that it had something to do with this lion figure, and that we were to come here and investigate. Well, people don't seem to be missing. There's something strange going on. But our primary objective of locating people, making contact, and finding out why does not seem valid anymore. We could stay and gather data, but I think the longer we do, the more risk we pose to ourselves.
Their orders are so vague.
To be
So
fair,
we could just leave, couldn't we? I mean, we
that's
could just
exactly it.
here, have some dinner, have a discussion, find out maybe a little bit more, and then be like, well, thanks, it's been lovely meeting you. Maybe we'll pop back again sometime. We've got a boat to catch.
If we can establish some sort of rapport, I think that's the best that we can hope for at this point. But I don't think we need to go delving too deep into the intricacies of what is going on here, since that was not our objective.
I do recall them mentioning something about a temple.
They did.
Yeah.
And I believe they wanted us to retrieve something from it, but I'll be honest, I was distracted by the light show from the cube.
Oh yeah. Yes, so was I.
Well, with everything that's been going on recently, it feels like it's been a whole 2 months since that conversation.
I tend to switch off when she talks anyway, I've got to be honest.
I would like to see a temple though, if there was one.
This could be it. And I gesture kind of at the White House.
Flesh temple.
Or this city as a whole.
Does not sound good. The other question is, he said, or Mark said, he would give us all the information we wanted. I mean, is that going to be, does that put us in danger finding out more information? Because I don't really want to be getting back in the boat, getting out of here, and then somebody sticking a gun to my head going, you know too much, bang, thanks very much.
I don't think it puts us in danger in that way. I think at that point, Zach does hand you all of the handouts that he was making on cult behavior and the bite model, and is just like, I think that is the greater danger.
Yeah, I sort of waved the little pamphlet. I do believe their relative sincerity that they will let us go, as long as we still want to.
Yes.
The longer we stay, the more appealing their argument is going to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's got to be a reason why people have stayed. And it's not for the decor.
I mean, I think that reason's obvious with some of the people who are coming here. Can't lie, this is seeming a little tempting to me right now. I don't really want to go back.
I'm gonna just
Liam's eyes narrow very much.
I'm just gonna go across to Zach and just pinch him.
I didn't say I wanted to stay in the flesh house.
Just saying.
Okay.
I'm definitely I do not want to stay. I would love to find out answers of this place. But I also feel, though, now knowing what we know, if we leave,
there will always be questions. That's what they count on. If we stay until we have all the answers, we will stay, because we will never have all the answers.
Well, what if the answer's such that we go, oh, well, yeah, we've got to stay now.
Something that makes me uncomfortable, however, is their own admission that there are no doctors and there are no scientists. There are no people with higher learning, so that when you give in, when you assimilate here, do you
Has
lose
that
that
been the
part?
case?
Yes. They said they had no doctors. So they were happy Kennedy was here to help with the wounded. And the only scientist that they could say was amongst their order was Mark.
Unless the SCP was a little bit more tactical in its choosing of its teams before. Again, especially amongst the GOC, you don't send a scientist in to a battle zone or where you don't know what's going on. You send teams in first to find out the information or whether or not it's safe. Now, as far as I am aware, Lion, remind me, was it called Rabbit Squad? What was the actual term for them?
White Rabbit.
The
It was
White
MTF
Rabbit.
White Rabbit.
Right. The White Rabbits, they may have had scientists or two. Maybe they were the ones who didn't want to join. And whether or not they survived that denial is up for question.
Well, say you're right, Lieutenant, and there haven't been many scientists or doctors to visit. Surely one of them could have learned. But the peoples here just kind of they exist. I just wish. Go ahead.
If you're a divine entity, why do you need a doctor?
Again, these gods are not omnipotent. They know what they know, and that's it.
I wouldn't get too hung up on this divine idea. They are godlike beings. Humanity created the concept of gods.
I believe the doctor is for the subjects, and because Yahweh, I think, Yeldaba or whatever, is infecting, and they've never probably run into a situation like this before where they're getting infected, so they don't know how to deal with it.
It's new to them. I guess even gods can learn new things.
Furthermore, when you have two different pantheons working in opposition, or even two deities working in opposition, even if they were both omnipotent, they probably wouldn't know what the other was doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It may sound strange, but I believe this one is stagnating, and Yahweh is doing the learning.
Well, this Yahweh seems intent on leaving whatever confines it may have had before and actively recruiting, learning, as you say, whereas Mark here, and we could talk about the psychological choosing of the name like Mark, but seems relatively happy simply staying here and letting others come to them.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about them. They want to be human. They want to be like us. That one, the guard, I'm sorry, not the guard, whatever nice word they're using for who our jailer is. They're watching us and they're mimicking us. And we saw that earlier with the one that approached you, Hev. Even Mark seems to be tailoring his appearance to be closer to our appearance. And that is a whole theological discussion in and of itself. I don't even know what to make of that.
When they react with us, who's to say they don't take on a different appearance when interacting with a cow?
Could be a precursor to invasion.
How very you.
But which
As I said,
side is doing the invading?
Exactly. It seems these people are happy to stay where they are.
Well, it didn't really matter who was invading when both the French and the Spanish found the New World, for example. Both sides can also invade the same territory.
Well, if we see any flesh monsters walking around the street, my apologies, I shouldn't use that term, I say to the wall. If we see any more denizens of Utopia walking around the streets of New York, then perhaps we can You might be onto something.
So, what do we do? I mean, I'm all for leaving.
My vote is to have a pleasant meal, a nice conversation, see if they are open to further discussion, and leave.
I think as long as we go into that with the understanding that we need to be careful and we need to be aware of things that might make us want to stay here, I don't see any reason why we would be in any more danger attending this meal than we've been in already.
I am not very happy at the prospect of eating anything that was made here. I don't know where it came from, I don't know what it was made of, and I don't know the effects it will have on any of us.
At that point,
Well, Mr. Kennedy, how do you feel?
at that point, you hear a knock at the door, and nothing behind it. And then a
So-
second.
Liam will open the door.
And standing on the other side of the door is that same utopian.
Spartan kick! Oh,
And after a moment, they step to the side, and the well-dressed gentleman from earlier steps into the door frame. Well, it looks as though a lot of you have taken your time and gotten ready. If you are prepared, dinner is ready to be served. However, if you'd like to take your time, please do. We are in no rush.
I think we're all good here.
Wouldn't want the meal to get cold.
Good. And then he steps away and he motions outwards. And as he does, all of you will notice again the tattoo on his palm as he stands there now with his hand outstretched.
so this would be the first time Liam notices this.
Correct. It will also be the first time that Jackson notices what it is, I believe. And it's also the first time Agent Hart sees it as well.
What is your name?
So sorry. Had I not introduced myself yet?
I don't believe so.
My manners are not what they used to be. I apologize. Once you spent a reasonable amount of time in a place like this, you forget those sorts of things.
Zura's eyebrow raises a little bit.
Zach's just like, no, don't like that.
My name is Armando.
Liam will reach out his hand as if to shake.
And he will take your hand. And
As soon as that hand reaches out, the wrist is grabbed and he pulls it up and says, "What rank?"
I am going to need you. I am going to need you to make me a... let's call this a Dex Wrestle check.
Dex wrestle, huh?
Nice.
Dex is super high, wrestle is kind of low. Yes, that. Then that. Okay. $25.4.
You grab his wrist, and as you begin pulling him towards you, he pushes one of his feet out as though to force you off balance by pushing against your shin. It's easy enough for you to sort of sidestep that. And from there, you can kind of describe how you would like to resolve this, but he is not immediately a willing participant in you dragging him in.
Liam's just holding the hand up and says rank.
I love it. And so he ends up almost like chest to chest with you at that point. He goes,
So he's just holding the hand with the rabbit on it up in the air. And
yeah. How tall is Liam?
How tall is Liam? 5'10".
Okay, so he's just about at the same height as you. So you guys are just about eye level with each other, and immediately the sort of like nice, sort of peaceful look that he had is replaced with this very intense stare as his eyes just meet yours. And he goes, "You could have just asked if you were curious. I have no secrets here, Captain."
Liam looks back at the captain in the group.
And yours?
Liam will release the hand. Lieutenant.
You have a good grip there, Lieutenant.
It seems we've all forgotten a bit of our manners tonight, Lieutenant.
Liam will cock his head and say, with this very, very creepy smile, "You said dinner was ready."
What was that? I missed that.
You said dinner was ready.
Yes. Yes, I did. Should I expect to be accosted again? There are much more amusing ways for us to implement that if you would like. As I said, my bedroom is always open. But I do think I would prefer to keep that in private.
I just learned more about you than I ever wanted to.
Let's start with the meal first. See how it goes.
Are you comfortable with that, Lieutenant?
Liam's smile does not waver and goes, "I'm not usually getting in bed with people that betray what they've stood for."
And yet here you are, working with the Foundation, representing perhaps them, perhaps someone else. He says as he sort of like flicks his finger against the... you wear the GOC insignia,
Yeah, with
correct?
with the call sign horns underneath it.
Yeah, and he sort of like flicks it. You know, there are very few people who step into the Foundation who ever step away, regardless of what they may think.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest you don't fool yourself into thinking that you are in any better of a position, Lieutenant of the GOC. Now, I hope everyone is hungry. It's a good meal tonight. And he turns and begins to walk out back into the hallway.
I will note that Zura pointedly ignored the second offer to join him in his bedroom to all of us. Just, I'm not here right now.
Liam is actually going to sidestep from the door, so he's now like at the door and waits for everyone to go before he does.
Yeah, I am quickly pushing past Mr. MacCern with the "What the fuck look are you doing?"
Liam's grin does not leave.
I'm sure.
I think with that, Zach does pause as he walks past Liam and just kind of looks him up and down and just asks, Are you good?
I'm wonderful, Zachary. Let's go have a dinner.
I don't like the way you're saying that. I really don't. I'm really concerned. Please don't bring out, the C4, please.
The C4, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Yeah.
And if you all follow, the captain leads the group of you through a series of hallways and a number of open rooms until finally you stop at a set of 2 sliding doors, both carved out of what seem like a large piece of bone, perfectly intersecting with each other. He stops for a moment, and as he does, the Utopian with him steps forward and pushes the doors open, revealing to the group of you a massive room centered with a long, beautiful, like black wooden table, which itself seems to have been carved from a single tree. You can still see bits of the innards under what seems like a fine polish atop it, and sitting on the table, on the far side from where you are a number of dishes, which it seems like have just been set, with a Utopian putting the final fork down and stepping away. There are a few bone candelabras seated across the table as well, with flickering candle light, although there do seem to still be lights on with those same fleshy bulbs. And sitting at the far end of the table, comfortable, waiting, with folds of flesh and fat rolling over the sides of the seat, is Mark. At which point, Armando leads the group of you in, if you do in fact enter. And he will direct each of you to your respective seats, taking up both sides of the end of the table near where Mark sits. Specifically putting Jackson to his left and Liam to his right. After a moment, if everyone is seated without delay or hesitation,
Yeah.
Mark smiles, another one of those big, full-faced grins, wider this time even, maybe impossibly so, and you can see the rows of teeth that seem to both not sit perfectly straight and still interlock with each other exactly as they should. I am so glad that you all have made it. It is a pleasant gift to dine with company that is not already our own. And then he looks back at the captain and goes, "No offense." And Armando nods with a bit of a wry smile. Before you is a very, very nicely plated bit of pheasant. Beside it, scattering of roasted potatoes, along with some asparagus. And beside that, a almost a generously filled glass of wine. You notice immediately that set on either side of these lovely dark blue ceramic plates are what look like very simple silver forks and knives.
Is there an extra seat at this table?
There is not.
I would request one from one of the Utopians.
Oh, how foolish of me. Please pass along my apologies. And he nods, and one of them retreats to what you can assume to be the kitchen.
Oh, it's quite all right. I have a friend who I was hoping would make it, so that we could perhaps discuss them.
I do not see them here. Perhaps that is a problem only I face, but...
Not entirely. But I'll be honest, and I'll kind of look around the room. I don't see them here either, so I'm going to try and get their attention.
Please.
And I'm going to start texting the most recent spam picture that Malos has sent me and just be like, can you show up to dinner? Like, I have no idea how else to.
There is an uneasiness that you feel sort of settle through the room as you pull out your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes and lack thereof all sort of fall on you. The only real break in that tension is Mark, who still seems to have that bemused smile on his face. And after a moment, looking down at your phone, it goes off. And you all will notice that everyone in the room, except for the group of you and Mark, seems to almost jump at it. And what you receive, Zura, is a picture. And looking up, you see that the picture you've received is accurate, as Mallow stands behind Lieutenant MacCern, looking down over the plate inquisitively, body hunched almost perfectly arced over him.
They're getting a chair for you, as is what I say as Malice has suddenly arrived. Does anyone of the Utopians notice Malos at this point?
Looking around, their eyes still all seem to be on you, except for Mark, whose gaze shifts over, and whose smile goes wider. And Malos looks up, only at you, and again puts up their hand, puts their other hand over their palm, and begins to pull back, and then bring it back in, and repeats this motion 2 or 3 times.
I look over to Mark at this point and I go, we have had trouble communicating?
Oh, of course. That was not surprising to me.
Do you know their name or what they are?
If I answered that question, one of 2 things would likely happen. The first, at least. Either you would run out of here screaming with the inability to process the information presented to you. Or you would melt.
I would what?
You would melt. You're a puddle,
I would melt.
A fine puddle, yes.
Oh. Okay.
Have you ever seen what do they call them? A chip that is overheated, processing far too much.
Yes. And I noticed the weird looks at my phone at this point and I put it away. Make sure I silence it so it doesn't go off and startle everyone again. I'm assuming that communication between us is impossible. For the same reason.
You are communicating on the wrong wavelengths. But it is serendipitous that you are here. Because, well, I cannot fix that problem. I can offer you at least some level of insight as to how to do so. Although, it seems to already be well underway.
I see.
Speaking of insight, I apologize. I would like to insight this god, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
That's a
what?
sentence.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yep.
my God.
What
To
is
whatever
it that
futility that may be.
give me an
I
idea of
just-
what you're looking for?
Wow.
I want to see if he's trying to make if he's trying to take advantage of this, like, oh, I can't give you this information because your head will explode, so therefore you have to stay here and listen to me talk.
Okay. I will let you roll either an empathy charisma, a psychology charisma, or at a much higher difficulty, an awareness perception.
I also I love that we're having this conversation about Malos while staring directly at the lieutenant. Probably making him really uncomfortable.
That is true. Yeah, both Zura and Mark are.
Liam is staring right back at Mark.
That is a 15.4 on psychology.
Okay.
Ooh.
You can tell that there is truth to what he is saying, but also very clearly he has seen an opportunity to spend more time speaking and is more than happy to take it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll ruminate on that as you continue your conversation. I apologize. I interrupted again.
I will actually I will kind of mimic what Malos is doing, just kind of like drawing my hand away and then slapping it again. It's like, do you want me to slap the lieutenant? Do you want me to open something? Is this a form of ASL? Like an actual, or is this like
No.
SCP stuff? Okay.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay. Because my ASL's still rusty. Yeah. Just I'll mimic it back. I'll make a fist afterwards as well. Like grabbing something.
And after a couple more times, it just sort of stops and slumps again.
Sorry. I do not understand. But you can come sit if you want.
And it, again, they sort of look up at you and their head quirks to the side and their eyes go wide.
It's amazing how far we've come. I mean, what, a couple of months ago, we were freaked out that they even existed.
And now they're family. They have a chair at the table.
Isn't that how it always goes? Here at least.
That was the sense I was getting, Mark. You seem to have created an amazing community.
That touches me deep in my heart. Thank you.
Sorry, there was an S on the end of Hearts,
Yes, there was.
and I just had to process that. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to offend you.
No, not a problem. It is.
I'm just not used to that.
Oh, I understand. You've only ever had the one. It is efficiency at work.
Yep, one and done. Yep.
As this conversation is happening, Liam is reaching inside of his coat and he pulls out basically an MRE or like a food paste from his pocket and he just starts eating it as he's watching.
And as Liam does that, Mark, his eyes sort of shoot over to Liam, and he goes, "Of course, yes, please eat. We are here to sup. I understand the need for food more than most. I have quite a bit of mass to maintain. Let us dine together. Speak as friends." And it's only after he says that last bit that his eyes leave Lieutenant MacCern.
I'm really torn about whether or not Zura's going to eat this food. On one scientific standpoint, she's like, this is probably synthesized from meat around here. I want to know what it tastes like. But also, it could be bad.
As you're processing this, Liam pulls out his canteen and just starts drinking from it.
You hear a bit of a chuckle from Armando.
Mark, I wanted to ask, I can't recall really seeing much by the way of animals or anything like that as we were walking through. Where did this incredible meal come from?
Well, I cannot fault you for that. We have moved all of our livestock away from the beach, lest more living beings risk becoming infected by the blight. And so, we have designated locations where they are kept and grown.
Well, we have seen a number of people like us here among your fine city, and I'm sure they require a very different diet.
Oh, they have not all yet perfected the use of teeth, and so much is turned into paste, much like your friend here is consuming. It is simpler, but necessary. Something is lost on their palates, but some are coming along quite well and are hopeful that soon they will be able to join us at the table.
Well, it will be their fortune to do so. This looks like one of the finest meals I've had in a long time.
Oh, I would hope so. We are lucky enough to have quite an amazing chef here in Utopia. And digging into it, Agent Hart, as I noticed you have. Man, if it's not real, you can't tell the difference. This is perfectly prepared, perfectly seasoned, perfectly prepped, perfectly cooked. It is exactly what, and I assume you, being yourself, would have quite a solid grasp on fine dining. It is amazing. This is like Michelin star level of just absolute bliss.
Well, my compliments to the chef, then. It is delicious.
They will be so pleased to hear that from someone who isn't me or us. Please feel under no obligation to eat if you wish not to. I promise not to be offended. Given the circumstances as they are, anyone who would suggest to you that I am not as arrogant as my siblings would be a bold-faced liar, but I am practical as well, and understand the situation you find yourself in. Perhaps the good lieutenant here has more of his packets of sludge for you.
Liam's lip twitches in a smile at this.
Don't think Zach eats. I think he cuts the food up like he's going to, and then just like kind of keeps cutting it and cutting it and moving it around on his plate, but it does not go into his mouth.
Wonderful.
Zura is doing something similar, but on the sly, trying to take samples.
Sort of dropping a little bit of it. Oops.
Into like a baggie or a test tube.
Certainly. And Captain Kennedy. Jackson.
As Liam finishes his packet of paste, he will gently crumple it up, put it on the plate in front of him, and lean back into his chair and look over at Mark and says, well, as you said, we should converse as friends, and I feel remiss, Bale, that we haven't asked you about the rest of your family. How's your mother?
So before we get to that, Jackson,
Wow. Yes.
what will you be doing regarding the delicious, if not suspicious, meal in front of you?
Jackson will be eating everything except the meat.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
So just like the, he's sticking to his plant-based diet.
Right. Wonderful. And again, these potatoes are just perfect, as is the asparagus. Charred to perfection, just lightly seasoned to let the natural flavors come through. It is great. This is amazing. This is easily the best meal you've had in a very long time, since I assume you've been on a pretty steady diet of foundation meals, which are not that school cafeteria food.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Made out of the same stuff the walls are made of even there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same. So, Lieutenant MacCern, you look over and you ask that. There's a moment of pause that sort of clings in the air. And then he looks back over at you and goes, "Oh, do you ask because you are curious? Or do you ask because you wish to rile me up? I have no problem either way, but I would like to ensure you get the response you are looking for. Is the hope to have me shake and tremble with rage so that when you leave, because you will, you can go back and tell your friends that you have gotten on the bad side of one of us? Or do you actually have an emotional investment, a care for myself and my kin? It's touching, if so."
I have quite the interest in your kin, as it were. And I mean, if you had any information about the whereabouts of your mother, I would be interested to know.
Boy. For what purpose?
To give them the same greeting I wish to give you.
And what greeting is that?
I've already greeted you as far as I know. You know my name, I know yours.
You wish to make introductions, then?
Oh, yes.
Well, I cannot tell you where she is. I do not know. But I can tell you the whereabouts of my father.
I believe that is Ale, yes?
Very good. You know your history. Oh, theology, I suppose. And that wide, big grin returns. And you can see the ridges that make up the outlines of his eyes rise, almost like eyebrows. And then after a moment, with that big grin, almost smug, he goes, "You should ask the Foundation." Ah. And that, I think, is where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you so much, you amazing people, for being here for this. and being absolutely incredible. I cherish each and every one of you.
There's always that one guy at Thanksgiving.
Wow. I am the
Can't
uncle.
just eat happy meal together. Just leave it alone.
Always gotta poke the bear.
Oh, goodness.
Jesus.
So how's your mom? Is she still a drunk?
What divorce is she on now? 5?
The new boyfriend is what, 15, 20 years younger, right? I
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
nowadays. Is he out of college yet?
Goodness.
Is that your 8th wine for the night?
Thank you, our amazing chat, for hanging out and keeping things going. By the way, in case anyone missed it, we are officially a hashtag Love Mr. Boat Squad here. That's wonderful. Thank you all so much for coming out for that. We love you all so much. I'm going to take a second, pass things around so everyone can remind you who they are, where you can find them, what they do, all the cool stuff. And because we started the other way, JD, you're up.
This time I was ready. That was officially the most awkward dinner I've been at in a long time. Tonight I have been incredible. Brings back good memories. So tonight I was Dr. Zachary Ryan. You can also find me with Live from the Apocalypse for Class Reunion and Academy H, and a few other games, including one-shots, as well as a season of Secrets and Shadows, which I will be GMing in, I just realized, less than 2 weeks. Incredible. That is very exciting. That's going to be absolutely feral. That is our Regency Monster Hearts game, and it is going to be a good time. This week, you can also find me with The Lost Caravan. I will be with them on Wednesday for Ghost Mountain, and then I will be with Jack for RPGs Uncovered and our final last episode of Cyber Rats. And last but not least, I will be back here on Sunday to play a Fate game, and I am very excited to see what happens in this 1920s speakeasy.
Nice.
And I will now pass it down to Jack.
Oh, thanks. Yes, that is me. You can find me over on my own channels, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered. I'm over on YouTube under the same name, Twitch, Discord, all of the places in the social media. Come hang out. It's a good time. I run a series called RPGs Uncovered, dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. We finished up our most recent actual play this past Saturday, and it was explosive and fantastic and wonderful. So go check that out. If you missed it, we have that, previous episodes, and all previous seasons over on the YouTube. And if you're interested in checking out new games, we have the full review and system analysis of Cyber Rats this coming Saturday. And we have a Whip Workshop creator interview, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. We're going to be talking about an absolutely incredible game called Bridgetown, and their independent publisher is going to be on with us. So we're going to get a little insight behind the curtain, as it was, which is fun. You can see more of those Whip Workshop episodes over on the YouTube. So if you're looking for a new game, if you're looking for indie games to support, head over there. There are so many cool projects right now that are crowdfunding or coming out soon. I think that's all I got. I will be here on Sunday as well for Tales from the Table. Days of Tales 2, I should say. Being a superhero of some kind in Mutants and Masterminds. Let me throw it over to Tal.
Hey, I'm Tal. You can check me out on the social medias under the Gamer's Rest. I have a YouTube channel where I play games badly, and I have a Ko-fi under the Tal Woodblaze, where you can check out some of my work as a designer of tabletop role-playing games. That's me.
Next is the Eye.
I am the eye playing your grumpy uncle at Thanksgiving. I am found here, only here, as the lion deems it worthy of my time and presence. Yeah, that's me.
And last but certainly not least, Zoe.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe. I've been playing Zura Von Brandt this evening, way in over her head. But still looking for those answers. You can find me here on Friday, actually, as I'll be running a Thirsty Sword Lesbians game. I've named it Well Dressed. That's going to make more sense later. But right now, I'm just going to leave you hanging there. You can also find me in April at Component Cast. doing cyberpunk things.
And I'm Lion. I'm the head for Tales from the Table Studios and the person who will be running themselves ragged over the next couple of days as we run Days of Tales 2 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 24th, 25th, and 26th. 36 hours of games, panels, giveaways, and more, all in support of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI is a phenomenal organization, and we are so happy to be able to be running this and supporting everyone and giving so much love to them in whatever ways we can. We've got so many amazing games lined up, and I cannot wait for y'all to check them out. This game has been amazing. I love all of you. We will be back tomorrow with The World Ended Today, Part 3. We're really excited for that as well. And then you'll be able to catch us on Friday with Day 1 of Days of Tales 2. But if you'd like to know more about that, there are a couple ways to do so. You can follow me over on Twitter at TheLionKnight42, where all of our information comes out. You can also go check out Thread of Souls on Twitter. They currently have just posted an amazing interview that I got to have with them where I talk a little bit about Days of Tales 2. And if you're less interested in reading and more interested in watching and listen to me ramble on, you can do that tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. EST. I will be on with Everyday Superhero Podcast, where we will be talking about Days of Tales 2, the games we're going to be running, the ideas behind the charity event, and so much more. So please check that out. If you want to talk to us, do so on Discord or Twitter. We have both. Discord is a great community that we're building, and it's getting bigger every day, and we've got amazing people. Come hang out. Join in the games that we're putting together for community games. Join in the casting that we're doing for upcoming series, which will not be taking place until after Days of Tales 2 because I'm at my limit on stuff. Don't worry, JD. I got you. Join us there just to hang out, get some insight from amazing creators, players, and more. You can also check us out. Like I said, on Twitter, we post a bunch of cool stuff there. We have a Ko-Fi where you can find a bunch of cool stuff. Membership tiers, naming rights for NPCs, locations, access to behind-the-scenes talk shows for every one of our series, which we're going to be recording right after this, and I'm so excited for, and so much more. Whew, I'm hyped. I think that's everything that I have to go over right now. So, thank you again to everyone here in the game, everyone over in chat. We love y'all so much. It means so much to us that you're here. Hope to see you back on Friday. And until next time, take care of yourself, love yourself, eat enough, drink enough, and always remember to tell your tales. Have a great night.
Especially
Bye.
you, Lion.